Yo, it's been a while. I'm in quite the good mood today. I started a new project, so I've been forgetting about this channel. My bad about that, but to make it up, I'll do 10 questions today and then I'll finish it up tomorrow. I will post tomorrow by 11 p.m. Okay, probably earlier than that. All right, but let's begin. So 84. Okay, so on Wednesday, a baker produced 100 more loaves of bread. So 100 more means adding 100 to something. To what? To the amount that was produced on Tuesday. Okay, we don't know how much he produced on Tuesday, but let's continue reading. Thursday, the baker produced 50 fewer loaves than were produced on Tuesday. Okay, so also in terms of Tuesday. And then the question saying if the total number is to add up all of those breads, right? On the 3 days was 230. How many loaves? So you need to find out what Wednesdays is. Okay, so why don't I just create like a little table, right? So T for Tuesday, W for Wednesday, and Thursday like that. Okay. Mm, we don't know how much he produced on Tuesday, right? And there were a few of those days that were in terms of Tuesday. So let lowercase t represent the amount that was created on Tuesday. So then on Wednesday, it says 100 more, right, than T. So then that means that I have to add 100 to this, right? Okay, I'm just going to change this to blue, okay? So T, so then this is going to be T plus 100. Okay, and then on Thursday, it says 50 fewer, so that means I have to subtract 50 from Tuesday. So it's going to be T minus 50, okay? And then it says the total number, so all of these added up, is going to be 230, okay? In this video, I'm not going to be as explicit, so you have to pay attention with my words. I want you to do some work and do the thinking and writing yourself, okay? But here I'm going to add up all these terms, right? Gather the like terms, so collect all the t's, that's going to be 3t, and then you got to gather up the plus 100 and the minus 50, that's going to be plus 50, and that means that that's got to equal 230. Okay, and now you have to solve for t. So you subtract 50 on both sides, that's 180, and then you divide by 3, that's going to be 60. So t is equal to 60. Okay, so on Tuesdays it's 60, but it doesn't ask for Tuesdays, it asks for Wednesday. So how do we find that? Well, simple, just go back into the table that we created. So it's t plus 100, so that's 60 plus 100, it's got to be h160. Okay, and now for further exercise, you should find out what Thursdays is, and if you want to do a sanity check, what should happen when you plug in and find out all of these, should get back 230. Okay, so go do that. Okay, so 85. In the table above, what is the mean quiz score? Oh, sorry, my alarm. Okay. What is the mean quiz score? Okay. Geez, this is going to be a lot of arithmetic. All right, so mean means you add up all the numbers and you divide by the number of numbers, okay? So here, it looks like we're talking about quiz grades and the number of numbers. How many are there? Well, there's going to be a number for each student, right? Because each student took the test. So that means that the thing that we divide by has got to be all of these added. So let's do that. So 9 plus 7, that's 16, plus 4, that's 20, 25, 28. So we're going to divide by 28. Okay, now what are we dividing? Well, we have to add up all of these. So how many 60s are there? Well, there's 9 of them. How many 70s are there? There's 7 of them. So essentially you're doing this: 60 times 9 plus 70 times 7 plus 80 times 4, and you're going to add up all of those. So to do this, so 60 times 9, that's like 6 times 9, that's going to be 540. 70 times 7 is like 7 times 7 is 490. 80 times 4, 320, 450, and 300. And then we're going to add like this. Hopefully I don't make a mistake. 4 plus 9 is 13, plus 2, that's going to be 15. It's going to be, so that's 0, that's going to be 20. So this is going to be 7, 11, 14, 18, 21. So that's going to be 2100 divided by 28. And this has got to be the average, okay? So we do 2100 divided by 28. Okay, let's do this. So how many 28s go into 210? Well, let's see. So 28 times 10 is 280, right? So then what's 28 times 5? 28 times 5 is going to be half of that, right? So it's going to be 140. So this number, it's going to be closer to, it's going to be a little bigger than 5. So let's try let's try 7. So 28 times 7 That's going to be 6 times 5. 2 times 7, 14. It's going to be 196. Okay, so this is pretty close, right? So 196. So if I put 7 here and I do 196 and I subtract, so that's going to be 10 for 0. Oh, this is very little space. Might make a mistake because of that. 0, 1, 1, 14. So this is good. So that means 7 works. Okay, and then you are going to bring down the 0 here, and then 28 goes into, I said 28 times 10 is 280, right? So that means half of that would be 140, so that's perfect. So it's going to be 5. So it's going to be 140, and you subtract 0, and then we don't even need these pieces. So it's going to be 75. So it's going to be C. Okay. 86. Which graph represents the solution to the inequality x plus 4 greater than or equal to 3? Okay, so to find the solution, you just got to get x by itself, and you could treat this similar to like an equation, right? So it's x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 3. To get x by itself, you subtract 4 on both sides. So that means x is going to be greater than or equal to 1, right? So x is greater than or equal to 1. So that means that you have to find the number line that represents this. So x is got to be greater than or equal to 1. That looks like it's going to be f, right? Because it includes 1, so that means that 1 is shaded, and it's going to point everything bigger than that, right? So, yeah. Okay, next. Wait. No, I made a mistake here. When you subtract 4 on both sides, okay, that's going to be x is greater than or equal to negative 1. Sorry. Okay, so you see, careless mistakes happens when you move too fast. But x is greater than or equal to negative 1. So that's got to be E, actually, okay? And then you include negative 1. Okay, great. Let's continue. 87. The reciprocal of 1/4 is added to the reciprocal of 3. What is the reciprocal of this sum? So there's a lot of reciprocals. Reciprocal means to flip, right? To flip the number, the fraction. I made a video on this, right? So reciprocal of 1/4, what is that? So this thing is like saying 4. So 4 is added to the reciprocal of 3. What is that? So this is 1/3. So that means you're going to do 4 plus 1/3. Okay, and then you have to find the reciprocal of this sum. Well, 4 plus 1/3 is 4 and 1/3. Change that into an improper. That's going to be 13 over 3. And you find the reciprocal of that is going to be 3 over 13. So that means it's got to be choice A. Okay, so here, let's continue. 88. Okay, made a square poster with a side length of 13. So Nora's is going to be 13. Lattice made a square poster with a side length of 15. And now you have to find the difference in square inches. This is the unit. Between the area of lattice. Okay, so that means you just got to find two areas and subtract them, right? So that's got to be, so you need to find the area of a square. That's just the side length squared. So 15 times 15 is 225, right? And then 13 times 13 is 169. So get comfortable with your perfect squares, okay? And then you're just going to do this math. And if you subtract that, look at all these choices. It's got to be E, but let's just do it. So 15 minus 9 is 6, 1, 11, 5, 1. Yeah, okay? Great. 89. The table shows the cups of ingredients used to make 4 servings of oatmeal. What is the unit rate for cups of oatmeal per cup of water? Okay, so this is similar to the other questions we did. I think we were talking about like the population and the debt. It's kind of like an averaging, right? So they're giving you a recipe here, and this recipe is for 4 servings. And you need to find the cups of oats per cup of water. Okay, so for cups of oats per cup of water, so here the ratio is going to be oats to water. So it's going to say like 2/3 oats over 3 1/4 water. Okay. So what is the unit rate for cups of oats per cup of water? So remember how we did it before? We can just divide this, right? Because it's like, you're saying that you need some amount of oats per some amount of water, but I want this to be a unit rate, right? So for some number of cups of water, some amount of oats, cups of oats per 1 cup of water. So, right? So this complex fraction, you just divide to get that. So 2/3 divided by 3 1/4, that's the problem we have to do. Change that into a mixed number. That's going to be 13/4, and then it's keep change flip. So it's going to be 2/3 like this, So it's going to, now you multiply across, it's going to be 8 39s. So it's got to be B. Okay? All right. So next, 90. Well, what is the value of x? Okay, great. So it's a lot of algebra here. It's a little, I mean, arithmetic, tedious. So to find x, we're almost done, right? We just got to do the PEMDAS and solve for that thing, okay? When you look at that, you see it's fraction operations, but the fraction denominators aren't different. You get them to be the same. I noticed that 5 and 2, the least common multiple is 10, so I can convert the 3/5 into 6/10. 6/10 minus half, that's 5/10. So that means that this piece is going to be 1/10. So it's 1/10 x. Now to get x by itself, you just multiply by the reciprocal of 1/10, which is 10. Right, so you're just going to take the right side, this thing, and you multiply this by 10. Okay, so now if I do this, same thing, get the denominators to be the same, it's going to be 12. So then this is going to be 3 12s, and then times 4 is going to be 8 12s. And then you add these, right? So it's going to be 11 12s, and then you multiply this by 10. Right, so 11 12s times 10. And then, yeah, but why am I getting something different compared to before? Okay, so I think I took a different path before, but yeah, this thing still checks out because it's going to be 1/10 divided by 12, and then you simplify this, but then you look at these choices. These things are proper fractions, but then this is the only improper fraction, and when you divide by 2 on both top and bottom, you're going to get 55/6. So it's got to be H. Okay. 91. In a certain state, the sales tax rate increased from 7 to 7.5%. What was the increase in the sales tax on a $200 item? Okay, so the sales tax went up, right? But it's based off of the original same price, so it was 200. So if the sales tax increased by 7 to 7.5%, that means that the percentage of increase, that's got to be 0.5%. Right? And it's from the same original thing, which is 200. So that means that the total increase in sales tax is just you do 0.5% of 200, right? And now you just got to change what this means, 0.5%, change that into a legitimate number, a legitimate decimal, right? So I think teachers usually teach it like this. When you have percents, right, and you want to change this into a decimal, you move 2 spaces to the left, right? The decimal. So you're going to do the same thing here. But this one already has a decimal. So you do 1, 2 like this. Okay, so it's going to be like this. So it's going to be 0.005 times 200. And now you just got to do this math, right? But now notice, to do this problem, you can think of it like 5 times 200, which is same thing as 5 times 2. That's 10, it's going to be 1,000, right? But then you are multiplying by 0.005. So you're comparing 0.005 to 5, right? It's like a trick that I mentioned in a previous video. So this thing is 1,000 times smaller. So that means I got to divide this by 1,000. Right? So this is going to be 1, and that's going to be A. Okay, great. 92. Okay, I talked about this in a previous question again too. This is like PEMDAS, right? But you look at all of this, and it's only plus and minus. So that means the same order. You could just do everything from left to right, but you want to do the things within the absolute values first, okay? So that means when I look at this, I can just do this piece first, left to right. But then, yes, let me do it like this. So negative 18 minus 12, that's going to be plus minus, so that's going to be negative 20. So then it's negative 20 plus negative 17 is going to be negative 37 minus negative 31. So that's going to be plus plus. This has got to be negative 6. So it's going to be 6. Absolute value of negative 6. That's going to be 6 minus 24. That's going to be negative 18. So it's going to be F. Yeah. So 93. We're almost there. Okay. So the table above shows cell phone sales by color. What percentage of the cell phones sold were blue? Okay, so to find this in percent, you just got to find the number of blues. So number of blues over the total, right? Total cell phone. But here they gave you the total. It's going to be 100. And percents means out of 100. So that means that's going to be very, very convenient. It's going to be very nice because it's already out of 100. Okay, so let's do this. We have to find the number of blues. But when I look at this, it looks like there are things in terms of k, right? So that means that the number of blues is going to be 30 minus 2k, okay? But the problem is that we don't know what k is, okay? But we do have uh, an equation we can create, right? Because the cell phone colors, white, blue, black, and red, when you add all of them, they got to sum up to 100. So that means that if you sum up all of these, right, you should get back 100. And then so that gives you an equation to solve for k, and then you just plug that in here, and then it's out of 100, so then that will become the answer. So let's do that. Okay, so here you're going to add up all the like terms, right? So I see all of the k's here. So 8k minus 2k plus 1k. So that's 6k, 1k, that's 7k, right? So 7k, and then you add up these numbers. 30, 30, 60 plus 5, that's going to be 65. That thing has to equal 100, right? And then so you subtract 65 both sides, you get 35 is equal to 7k, divided by 7k is got to equal to 5. Okay, and now finally what I said, you put that back in here. So it's 2 times 5, that's 10, so it's 30 minus 10, that's going to be 20 out of 100. It's got to be 20%.